I do want to get into these primetime games,
Sure.
going back to the NFL, starting with Thursday night with the Kansas City Chiefs. Going into actually, LA Chargers is going into Arrowhead,
Right.
playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the first time they meet all year.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of blasphemous for me because the AFC West, I thought they would have met earlier in the year than you play at the end of the year, but now within the next 4 games,
they're going to play twice.
They got to play twice.
Yeah.
So, in my pro pick'em, I picked the Chargers just due to the fact that I feel like the Chargers is out to have something to prove. Right. Knowing the fact that they're 10-3 right now, they're 10-3, and they're learning how to win on the road.
Yeah.
And that was a big win in Pittsburgh. I think they got their momentum. They got a good win, and I think they played home against Cincinnati this past week, right?
Yeah.
And I just felt like with the Chargers, I'm knowing I'm a Raiders fan. I really don't care for this game because I'm a Raiders fan, and I gotta be like that sometimes. But
understand.
I don't know. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to do his thing. I just don't trust his defense when Phillip Rivers got the ball with 2 minutes left. I just can't pick against them if it comes down to that because they just playing well. I know it ain't no Melvin Gordon. Right. There's no Austin Eckler, but Phillip Rivers still doing his job as what he's supposed to. So I'll pick the Chargers here. So
prior to the season, I had picked Phillip Rivers and the Chargers to be my sleeper team in the AFC. I said that they would be that team that could sneak into the playoffs and be dangerous. I think this is the most weapons that Phillip Rivers has ever had around his career. And he's got a very good defense. He's got great pass rushers, good young pass rushers there on the defense. So I think this is the most complete team that Phillip Rivers has ever really had in his career. But when I looked at the schedule and I saw this, like you said, 2 games at the end of the year against Kansas City, I split these games. And I do the same thing with the Ravens and the Steelers. Every year I split those games, 1 game to the Steelers, 1 game to the Ravens. And I did that with this game, and I'm giving the edge to the home team on both sides. So being that they're in Kansas City this week, Mahomes kind of riding high, beating one of the best defenses, if not the best defense this past week. I think that gives them a little momentum. Yes, you're right. I don't trust Kansas City's defense, but damn, their offense is really good, and they're going to put up a lot of points against this defense. I give the Chiefs the edge in this one only due to home field advantage. I think it's going to be the primetime game of the week. This will be the game to stream. This will be the game to watch. Make sure you watch Sports. What is Spotlight? Spotlight Sports Talk. Birdland BS, man, because it's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
I think we do have some good games in like the 1:00 slot. Mm-hmm. I really interested in the Dallas Cowboys and the Indianapolis Colts game. Now, both of these teams are on fire. Indianapolis Colts is coming off a huge win in Houston.
Yeah.
And I think they only lost what? I think they're like 4-1 in the last 5 games. I think
they're playing really, really good football right now.
And they're playing at home, and Dallas finally has to go on the road.
Yeah.
And I picked the Colts to win this game. I really like Dallas defense. Dallas defense has stepped up, but we have not seen them play on the road since Amari Cooper. Like, it's been a while since that we've seen it. I think it was the Philadelphia game when they came to Philly, and that was the only away game that they played in the cold. But they kind of struggled. They kind of struggled in that game a little bit too. But I just feel like Andrew Luck is playing his best football right now.
Okay, and I agree with you. I prior to the season, I didn't give Andrew Luck a whole lot of credit. I thought that as good of a football player as he was coming out of college in his first couple of years in the pros, he hadn't been on the football field in a very long time. There were still a lot of question marks about his arm and his arm strength and all that stuff. But, I mean, he came in the best shape of his life. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it took him a few weeks to kind of get his feet back underneath of him. But they are playing really, really good football right now as a team. But so are the Cowboys. The Cowboys have dynamically changed since adding Amari Cooper. It's just had a trickle-down effect. As you mentioned, I think Dallas defensively is playing really good football. That young linebacker that they've got out there, is his name Vander Bosch or whatever?
They like Vander Esch or something.
Yeah, something like he is dominant. He's probably one of the better linebackers that I've seen come out in the draft in a while. I give the edge to the Cowboys here, and the only reason I give the edge to the Cowboys is Ezekiel Elliott. I think Ezekiel Elliott is the difference in this game. I think both teams will be able to move the ball through the air, but I think I trust Dallas's run game a little bit more than I trust Indianapolis, so that's how I give them the edge in this game.
What's the funny thing about this game is they have two rookie linebackers.
Yeah.
And the Indianapolis Colts linebacker, I forgot his name, but he's leading the league in tackles right now.
Yeah.
And Vander Esch on the other side, like this is like the future of NFL linebackers right now.
You're right. Absolutely.
And the only reason why I give the edge to the Colts because I feel like Andrew Luck is going to outplay Dak.
And you're right.
He's going to outplay Dak, and I just feel like, all right, I know Dallas Cowboys fans probably going to be mad at this, but they got lucky against Philly.
Okay.
Against Philly because Douglas did play that. He played the ball well. It was just Amari Cooper's day. Nothing could go wrong for Amari Cooper that day.
I agree with that.
Catch in overtime.
Yeah, the bounce.
It was lucky. I know Dallas Cowboys fans going to be mad at me by saying that, but it is what it is if you look at the play.
Sometimes you got to have luck on your side, man, and they did that game. That's for sure.
And I just feel like Andrew Luck is going like if they could run the ball effectively with Marlon Mack not being hurt, I think they could run the football effectively at home. They're not a great football team away,
right?
But I think they learned their lesson from the Jacksonville game. The Jacksonville game, they couldn't get nothing done. They couldn't score, and they went into Houston, and they put up like 24, 27 points against that Houston defense. So Houston can be scored on. But I think that's the motivation going into this game. Like, we can't have one of those Jacksonville games again.
Yeah, I can't argue your point there. Like I said, I think this is going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to end up being the difference in this game.
All right, so I'm going to just skip all the way to the 425 game of the New England Patriots are going into Pittsburgh against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know this is your division rival team playing at home, but I picked Pittsburgh to win this game. And why I picked Pittsburgh? Because it's not in Gillette Stadium. That's one.
Okay.
Two, I picked them because I feel like the Patriots defense can't get off the field.
Right.
They can't get off the field. I know they're missing James Conner, but when you have an Antonio Brown and a Juju Smith-Schuster, and you don't know what tight end Ben Roethlisberger is going to throw to out of Vance McDonald or Jesse James or whoever the tight end is, you just don't. I just think the offensive firepower for the Pittsburgh Steelers is more powerful than that Patriots defense. But on the flip side of things, Tom Brady had one of his best games against Miami, but they still lost the game.
Right.
It wasn't his fault that they lost the game because the defense was on the field.
Right.
But I just feel like when the Pittsburgh Steelers defense play at home, they play so much better at home than they do away. And this showed when they played Denver and then when they played us, they just wasn't like that. They just wasn't clicking. But when they home and they have that terrible towel and that atmosphere, it's hard to beat them there. And we going off a rivalry game where last year Pittsburgh could have won the game if they would have called that catch a catch against New England.
Right.
So I picked Pittsburgh in my weekly picks, so I'm gonna just stick with them here doing some research. I don't want to go against Tom Brady. I went against him last week, and I lost. the miracle in Miami, that's what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, I mean, to Miami's credit, Miami always plays New England tough. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine prior to the game, before the game even started, that I thought it was going to be a close game between the two of them because it always is. No matter what the records are, no matter who's quarterbacking for the Dolphins, for some reason, Miami always has New England figured out. Whatever that may be, it's always a close game. But when you talk about New England and Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's been a very bipolar team this year. They've had some really high ups and some really lows. Obviously, like you mentioned, losing to the Raiders this past week, the Raiders kind of being in shambles the way they are. I mean, yes, they have been playing better as of late, but when you're talking playoff football, because at this point, with Pittsburgh only having a half game lead over Baltimore, every one of these games matter.
Right.
And you put up a dud like you did against Oakland. I don't trust the Steelers, and especially not having a strong running game. As great as Juju Smith-Schuster is and as great as Antonio Brown is, when you become one-dimensional, which they are, when you don't have that running game in James Conner, it changes this team and it changes Ben Roethlisberger. And we saw that. We saw that this last week. Obviously, Ben got banged up and was out for a while. So, we don't even know if Ben's going to be 100% going into this game. And then when you talk about the Patriots, they're on the other side of things, right? So Edelman's back, Gronk's back. Like, they're getting healthy. They're getting their weapons back. And Brady will start to get more comfortable using those weapons now that he'll have them back. I do think the running game is a question mark for New England. Sony Michel, I think he's starting to hit that rookie wall where you're starting to see him slow down. He played pretty well there for a good stretch of, maybe 5-6 games there midway through the season.
Right.
But I think, typically with rookie running backs, you see this happen towards the end of the season. They're just not used to playing this much and playing this many games and practicing this much. And I think we're starting to see that with Sony Michel. So if I have one concern for the Patriots, I think it's in the run game. But I'm going to go with the Patriots in an upset on the road. Not that it's an upset.
It's not really an upset, but
I think they're a favorite. I just think an upset on the road in Pittsburgh.
What's funny about that? But I want to go back to what you said about Sony Michel. That he started, well, and then he's starting to die down. Now look at Chubb in Cleveland.
Right.
He started off slow, and now he's on fire.
Right.
I don't know what it is about these Georgia running backs that comes out. They're just monsters, man. Like, and just to put it out there that if people didn't know that Todd Gurley, Sony Michel, and Chubb was all in the backfield at one time. That's crazy, man. It's crazy to say. So
whoever the hell was recruiting running backs at Georgia, that guy needs a promotion.
he needs more than just a recruit. He needs to be something bigger than what they're doing right now.
Right.
It's just looking how they have great running backs coming out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't really want to talk about the Rams and Eagles game because I just already know how that's going to turn out, knowing the fact that Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it because now it's a possibility that he will not play,
yeah.
But this is around the same time that they went on a Super Bowl run with Nick Foles.
He's not here anymore, though. Nick Foles, or wait a minute, I'm thinking of never mind. I'm thinking of Minnesota, not Philadelphia. My bad.
Yeah, Nick Foles is not there. Nick Foles is still there, and
right.
He still got all the weapons. He just only weapon that's left on that offense was LeGarrette Blount. So it feels like deja vu again, but it's just
right.
It's not deja vu to a point where they was the number one team in the NFC at that time. Now they're struggling to get in. What needs to happen is Dallas needs to lose out, and Eagles needs to win all three. So we already know we all know what Nick Foles did last year versus this Rams team, but they really did prepare for Nick Foles in that game. They prepared for Wentz.
Right.
So I'm still taking the Rams here. I just can't. I can't go with the Eagles in LA. That's tough.
Yeah. I think so. The Rams are coming off their worst game of the season by far. Jared Goff threw 4 interceptions in Chicago. Todd Gurley was terrible in this game. Couldn't get anything going on the ground. Sean McVay does not like to lose. I think you're going to have a pissed-off Rams team to go against, and that's probably not going to be good for Philadelphia, especially if Wentz is, on the mend and not going to be quarterbacking as well as Nick Foles did last year. This would be his first action in a very long time. So
I think like week 1 or week 2.
Right. So asking him to come in and beat one of the most prolific teams in the NFC. Oh, man, that's a tough task. I think the Rams win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't know why they put this as a Sunday night football game. I know understanding the game was great last year.
Right.
But this is a totally different Philadelphia Eagles team.
Very different.
Just to go back on it, honestly, Wentz, like I said earlier in my last video, if y'all want to go check that out, I said that Wentz was never comfortable when he came back into the starting lineup. He was never comfortable. Offensive line was not giving him the protection, knowing that's almost the same offensive line from last year, but we had Peters banged up. You had Lane Johnson banged up. Jason Kelsey banged up. But they all back. So hopefully Nick Foles could give them some type of mobility like Wentz couldn't do this year.
Right.
And you got to spread the football around. That's another thing, too. Like, there's no way that Zach Ertz should have almost 12 to 15 targets a game, and you got an Alshon Jeffrey and a Nelson Aguilar and a Golden Tate. There's no way. There's no way that he should have all the – I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a great tight end. The boy can ball. He can ball. But when they double-team him, you can't force it. You gotta,
I think the biggest difference for the Eagles is the loss of Frank Reich. I think that changed this offense. They've got a lot of the same people. They got a lot of the same personnel. They added a Golden Tate, but what has he done since he's been there? I think he caught his first touchdown last week. Yeah. Outside of that, he hadn't really done a whole lot. So I don't know. I think this team could be dangerous, but I think, like you said, they got to utilize their weapons better. You can't rely – as good as Zach Ertz is, I think he's a top 3 tight end in the league. I really do. I think he's a great tight end. You can't just rely on one target and one target and one target. You've got other weapons, and you're paying, Jeffrey's good money. You went out and traded for Golden Tate, and let's face it, Aguilar, when he's gotten chances this year, he's been a really good wide receiver when he's gotten his chances this year. You got to utilize the weapons, especially when you're banged up in the running game, and they have been. They've been banged up all year in the running game. I mean, what's the guy's name that's running the ball now? Smallwood. I think he's done okay.
I like Josh Adams over Smallwood.
Oh, I'm sorry, Adams. Yeah, Adams is the guy I'm thinking of. Josh Adams has done pretty good. And then getting back the veteran in Darren Sproles, I think helps as far as, having a pass catching back out of the backfield and his ability to make plays with his feet. It helps. But you got to use them. You got to use them right. And Frank Reich was different in that.
And Frank Reich is over in Indianapolis right now.
Indianapolis.
You see that offense from the Eagles last year, and
exactly.
It's just us. I know they're my home team. I feel bad for them, but at the same time, you got to learn how to utilize your weapons.
Right.
We do have the Monday Night Football game. We have the New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers. I made this as an easy pick. I made it as the Saints. I don't care if they're in Carolina, because Carolina is just not playing the best football. No. When you have Christian McCaffrey leading your team in rushing and receptions for the last couple of weeks, you're not going to win football games.
No.
You're not. So I picked the Rams here. Funches, he's only good as if he's a number 2 receiver. He's not a number 1. Y'all drafted DJ Moore, which DJ Moore is a Philadelphia native.
Yep.
I actually knew his parents.
Okay.
They went to a school near me. So,
okay.
Shout out to DJ Moore. I know he's a rookie.
He's a Terp.
He's getting he's a Terp. Yup. Mm-hmm. So he's getting his shine. Yeah. And he's ready, but he's going to come into himself. It's his rookie year. You have a Curtis Samuel there, but I just don't think with Drew Brees and Kamara and Ingram, do I have to keep going? Like,
no, I know.
It's just Cam is not playing up to par. I think they're on like a 5-game losing streak. They were 6-3.
Yeah.
Now they're 6-3, 6-4, 6-2, or something like that. And they just been losing. And now they 6-7. It fell apart for them. So I took the Saints here.
Yeah, like you said, this is the layup of all the matchups that you brought up. Obviously, the Saints are my pick in this one as well. Even though the Saints have been struggling a little bit on offense, I feel like once Dallas kind of gave the league the blueprint on how you stop this offense, other teams are now kind of game planning that way and watching the tape of what Dallas did against New Orleans. Scott and I were talking about New Orleans, though, man. They've got a Swiss Army knife in this guy Hill, man. The way that
Taysom Hill,
yes, the way that they use this kid, I mean, he is a true athlete. You know how in college football, when a guy doesn't have a position but he can do a little bit of everything, they label him an athlete. Like, that's what he is, but on the NFL level. He can do a little bit of everything. And kudos to Sean Payton and the offensive game planning there, because they utilize that guy the right way, because when he's on the football field, regardless if he's lined up as a wide receiver, an H-back, if he's lined up at quarterback, wherever he is, you have to account for that guy at all times. And then, like you said, not to mention all the other weapons that they have, and Kamara and Ingram and Thomas, and we could go on and on and on. I think the Saints win this one pretty easily.
So that was our primetime picks there for the NFL Week 15.